College basketball on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by the DQ Chicken Strip Basket with 100% all white meat chicken. Only at your DQ. By Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. And by AT&T.
You get 40 minutes of grit, you get 40 minutes of toughness, you get 40 minutes of heart, all right, we'll be in great shape. We'll be in great shape, I promise you. But we got to understand that this is an amazing opportunity for us to come out. Like we talked about, 40 minutes of effort for memories that'll last you the rest of your life. 40 minutes of effort, fellas. 40 minutes of effort, 40 minutes of emptying your tank. All right, 4 minutes of giving everything we have inside of us. All right, we'll come back here in about 2 hours and be celebrating a huge win. All right, let's go give them hell. Let's go.
Maurice Joseph in his second year at the helm here at GW, starting lineups for Miami as Bruce Brown is back in as a very balanced starting five for the Hurricanes. Meanwhile, for GW, we highlighted Yuta Watanabe off the top. He's their leading scorer at 15 points per game. And a young backcourt in Terry Nolan, a true freshman, Jair Bolden. Explosive scores that they're going to need a lot from today. Jason Horwitz, Dan Bonner, and you on this Saturday. 6th-ranked Miami and GW underway, and the Hurricanes win the tip.
George Washington starts in the man-to-man. Got to be very careful trying to defend the Miami screen and roll. They like to get into the lane.
That's Brown. First shot of the game, it rolls off. The putback dunk is missed, but Huell gets his own rebound, and it's ripped away.
He missed it, but that was really interesting looking, and that's something George Washington has to avoid. They cannot give Miami second shot opportunity.
They gave up 15 offensive rebounds last Saturday in a loss at Penn State, and they got blown out right from the beginning. That's Patrick Steeves, grad transfer in his second year here at GW. Dan, very balanced Miami scoring. 9.9 a game for Lonnie Walker, who comes off the bench. They have about 5 guys that average in double figures, and Huell, who has the first basket, is the leader at 13 a game.
And a lot of what Miami does is very simple in terms of that screen and roll. That's all you saw there. George Washington did not defend that very well, and so Huell, who set the screen, was wide open under the basket. Miami also opens into man-to-man. This is one of the best defensive teams in the country. Defense has been a trademark for Jim Larinaga team.
Watanabe inside the arc. He hits his first shot, and if he gets going, that's going to light up this crowd.
It certainly will. And Jason, to be honest with you, I think he has to have a huge game today if George Washington is going to stick with Miami. You see here the defensive matchup. Watanabe is guarding Bruce Brown.
Very good three-point shooting team, and Anthony Lawrence drills the three.
And that's what they do. They attack into the lane, and you collapse in the lane, and they kick it back out, and they've got 5 guys on their team already this year who are on double-figured threes, and Brown isn't one of those guys, and he has 9.
Arnaldo Toro, he can't hit from beyond the arc. He's made 7 this year, their big man. Vasilovic down the floor, the sophomore from Australia. Wasn't close, and Bolden the board. 5-5 on the season for GW. They've had a very rough non-conference schedule. Florida State and Xavier and Kansas State all on the schedule.
They played Penn State on the road. Penn State is pretty good.
And they hung with Xavier as well in that game. Down to 5 on the shot clock, and Bolden looked up and saw it. Gets Toro, roll into the basket. It's off the heel. And the rebound for Anthony Lawrence.
Well, that's a great shot, particularly at that point in the shot clock.
Huell drives the basket. Toro stood his ground, and that's something else they're going to need. Miami's good on the 3, but as you mentioned, they get into the lane very easily.
You know, they don't make a lot of free throws, but they get in there, and they force your defense to react.
Nolan, the freshman, kick out to Steeves, flip inside the arc. And GW has opened this game 1 of 5 from the floor.
Steeves has not made a three-point basket yet this season. I think maybe he doesn't need to be shooting those early in the game.
Extra pass. Vasiljevic lines up a three.
But what started it? It's the penetration into the lane, the defense reaction to cover. They could cover the first pass out, but they can't get to the second pass out. And Vasiljevic, you give him any time at all, he can be as good a three-point shooter as you'll see.
Hurricanes haven't played in 11 days. Their last game was December 5th. Home win against BU. And at the underside of the basket. And this is not the start that Coach Joseph was talking about in the locker room. Brown. And it's knocked out of bounds with 20 on the shot clock. It'll stay with Miami.
But it's not the start they want, but you have to be able to weather these storms. Here, Newton gets into the lane, the pass to Brown. We said Brown leads this team in assists. The defense was coming toward him. He found the wide open Vasiljevic. So Miami's going to make runs at you. Miami's a very good team, so you have to stop them as early as possible and then just react and battle your way back in the game.
Nolan takes a three.
And you don't want to go that quickly. Nolan is a very good driver. He's going to be a pretty good three-point shooter, but at this point in his career, he needs to use his explosiveness. Watanabe's got to handle the ball. I'm not sure that George Washington should have very many possessions where he does not at least touch the ball on the offensive end.
He's only had 1 or 2 touches this entire first 4.5 minutes.
He doesn't have to shoot it, but he's got to touch it.
Steves backs down his man, and again they're getting good looks.
They're getting close looks, but they're looks over guys with really long arms. So I'm not sure that they're easy ones.
Now it's Steves on Brown, who drives the rim. They're knocked out of bounds, but a foul called underneath the basket. It's on Patrick Steves. Undefeated Miami off to a good start in the nation's capital. Pro keys to the game, Dan. What are you looking at for the Hurricanes and Colonials?
For Miami, I'm not talking about monopoly. They've got to rebound the ball very well, and particularly I think they have to attack the offensive boards, and we've seen them already. They've got their lane attack going. That's what they've got to do. For GW, the three's the thing. They got to prevent them, they got to make them, and they've got to create extra opportunities by forcing turnovers and getting offensive rebounds.
So contrasting styles there, contrasting coaches as well. Jim Larrañaga, 34th season, his 7th at Miami, 617 wins. Maurice Joseph, last year the interim coach, led GW to a 20-15 season. Went to the quarters of the CBI. He was named head coach. They took the interim tag off in the offseason, but less than half the age of Jim Larrañaga as Brown rolls off the first. And he has certainly had a massive turnaround to this point, Dan, at Miami for what they were, whereas really a one-off team every now and then they were pretty good too. They are consistently good.
That's the kind of program he develops. He doesn't develop a good team. He develops a good program, and when you do that, then you have a lot of good teams, and certainly that's what they've done at Miami under Jim Larrañaga.
Hurricanes back-to-back NCAA tournaments. Only other time that happened in school history. They went to 3 straight under Leonard Hamilton from 98 to 2000. Lawrence pushes it in the corner. That's the freshman Lonnie Walker just off the bench. And he had 26 points their last game. And the alley-oop. Ibuka Izundu finishes the slam.
You know, nobody talks about Anthony Lawrence, but he stole that ball. He ran it up the court. He made a great pass. He got the offensive rebound, made another great pass. And so as a result, they score a bucket. And what are we talking about? George Washington is the team that has to get the offensive rebounds and force the turnovers, and it's been the other way around here early. Walker with a nice shot, and then Lawrence just tracks down the ball.
That is Justin Mazzulla, true freshman, brother of former West Virginia point guard Joe Mazzulla. Watanabe's got the only 2 for GW, and Mazzulla has the offensive rebound.
That's only Watanabe's second shot, and that was a tough shot. Miami does a great job pressuring the ball. It's really hard to get your offense started.
Golden's their second best scorer, and he's bumped on the drive. The foul on Jaquan Newton, that is his first. And remember, the shot clock this year on fouls goes back to 20 seconds instead of 30 seconds, one of the new rules this year. So just 20 seconds for Maurice Joseph.
And Maurice Joseph is relying on Jair Bolden to have a big game. Bolden is a very dynamic offensive player. He's a guy who's really looking to score. He's going to have to score, I think, a lot today.
Watanabe again, a difficult shot. Steves the putback, no. Well, they got the offensive rebound you were talking about, but here comes Miami back the other way, and Walker converts for two.
Walker's one of those guys you watch him play and you just go, wow. And that was one of those moments right there. George Washington's in deep trouble. They desperately need a basket.
1 of 10. Another difficult shot. This time Bolden hits.
Sometimes when you're struggling, you got to make difficult shots, and certainly against Miami, you're not going to get very many easy shots, but by making that basket, they're now able to go into a little three-quarter court trap, and they drop back into a 1-2-2 zone. Let's see how Miami handles this. A lot of times people say we can't play a zone against a team that shoots the ball very well, but Miami is a team that's based on movement.
Got to the right spot, and they get the offensive rebound. Walker. And another offensive attempt for Miami.
Well, Ibuka Izundu is a great offensive rebounder. And look at Walker push the ball up the court. He dribbles through the entire GW team. And there's Watanabe in great defensive position, but Walker's able to convert. And just to finish my thought about the zone, if a team is based on movement and you make them stand, then that's what the zone is designed to accomplish.
Bolden whistled for the offensive foul. He bulldozed Chris Likes, the 5'7" freshman from right here in Mitchellville, Maryland.
Well, Likes just gets in pretty good position, and Bolden puts his shoulder right into his chest. That's right in front of the referee, and when you do that in front of the referee, you're going to get caught every time. I think if he keeps that arm in, then the foul might be against Likes, but Likes is a guy who has a reputation of being a pesky, tough defender.
Likes is a guy who's wearing the goggles now because he's got poked in the eye, but it's nothing with an eye injury. They're worried about his hard contacts. Walker, the offensive rebound, and he just came flying in, and Steves whistled for his second foul.
One of the drawbacks is when you play in a zone, if you're a team that doesn't play a lot of zones, it's hard to find the guys to block out. Nobody even thinks about Walker. He starts at the top of the key and just goes flying to the board.
Now, we started this broadcast by talking about how good this Miami team might be, and the win at Minnesota is a good win. The rest of their non-conference schedule to this point has not been great. But if they're going to be a very good team, this is the one area where Miami's got to get better than, because they are a 57% free throw shooting team.
And Jim Larinaga is aware of the problem. He says he thinks they'll get better as the year goes on, but actually they don't really shoot a lot of free throws. But that win against Minnesota wasn't just a good win. That was a great win. Number 12 team in the country playing in that place.
That was a dominant ACC Big Ten challenge for the ACC.
Well, it was, but that was, I think Miami's win may have been the best win that anybody had in that challenge. Maybe all season long for a team playing a major conference team.
You wonder if at some point if the confidence in the shots offensively for GW becomes an issue, because they saw this movie last Saturday at Penn State.
Well, you just got to keep working. And what you have to do is create opportunities on the defensive end.
Down to 6 on the shot clock. Walker, quick pitch. Lawrence left alone on the scramble. Ibundu taps it out, and Nolan. Fast break. Ziegler lays it in.
Here they come.
You know, as much as this has felt like Miami's game, it's only a 7-point game.
I'm just going to say, you watch this game, you think Miami's up by about 20, but you're absolutely right. It's only a 7-point game.
Walker on the drive, and he's fouled by Nolan. Whistled for his first, and it's the 4th on GW. The grad transfer, Bo Ziegler, finishes.
First time they've really had a breakout opportunity, and Ziegler finishes easily.
But just a 7-point lead with about 11 minutes to go in the opening half as we get an eye on the ACC, brought to you by Wall. 6 teams in the top 25, led by Duke at number 4.
Well, Duke is number 4, and you know, we've been talking about Miami. Florida State has come on very well. You see, they one of the 6 remaining unbeatens. And, you know, nobody's talking about teams like Virginia Tech that are a really, really solid team. Clemson had a big win on the road in that ACC Big Ten Challenge. So I think the ACC, a very, very strong league once again this year.
And Virginia Tech, a good challenge today at 8th-ranked Kentucky. But how about 2 years ago, Virginia, speaking of the Cavaliers, came in. It was the second game of the season. It was a Monday night here in the Smith Center, and it turned out to be a GW win over a top 10 team at home for the first time since 1996. And today they're hoping history repeats itself.
This is a very difficult place to play.
Well, everybody's right on top of you.
Yeah, and the zone defense does have Miami standing around just a little bit.
Vasilovic back in the ball game, and he hits his second three.
But what a great job by Miami. Get the ball inside, force the zone to react, force somebody to guard the ball, and then pitch it around the outside till you find Vasilovic.
Watanabe on the bench right now for GW.
A little too much standing and dribbling by George Washington here early in the game.
Back out to Nolan. Open three, and he hits.
He's going to be a dynamic player, George Washington. Not a great three-point shooter yet. Only shoots about 25% on the season, but if he's open for that shot, he has to take it, and if they're going to win, he's got to make it today.
Freshman from Baltimore has been in the starting lineup since he arrived on campus. Entry pass to Lawrence. Back out to Likes. That is long for three.
You got to be kidding. I think Maurice Joseph, if he had any hair, he'd tear it out. That's exactly what you're looking for. Wow.
Now, Jim Larinaga was quoted this week as saying if Chris Likes was 6'5" or 6'6", he'd be Michael Jordan. That's a rough comparison.
That's nice. That's nice.
Likes, alley-oop, and good defensive play at the rim. And Ibundu was standing out of bounds. Izundu, excuse me. And he comes up limping.
He does a great job giving up the basketball and then getting it back, and that's very interesting. Ibuka Izundu was out of bounds when the ball hit him, and therefore the ball's out of bounds off him.
Well, what a job by Nolan to get back and make that defensive play for GW. Not to give up the easy bucket.
How about getting up in the air? I mean, he was guarding the ball and came back to get Izundu. Miami's defense has disrupted what GW is trying to do. Brown is an excellent defender, and that's one of the reasons why you haven't heard a lot from Watanabe.
Get back to Ziegler, who was backing down Lonnie Walker, and the freshman from Reading whistled for his first foul.
See, Walker has his elbow, his forearm up against him, and you just can't keep that forearm there while you're pushing with it. You're allowed to put that forearm there, but you can't push with it, and that's what Walker was doing. Oh, my. That's a tough shot. I'm not sure you need that shot at that point in the shot clock.
Again, they push it. Likes.
So now I think Nolan needs to push it. Particularly when you get the long rebound, you need to take advantage if you can create the advantage.
Foul whistle by Lamar Simpson. That is Chris Likes' whistle for his first. It was the third on Miami. Justin Williams checks into the game for Ziegler.
This is the other thing you see about Miami. They've got a very nice rotation. They may not play 10 or 11 guys, but they're deep because their guys are so versatile.
Watanabe, couple of good ball fakes. Can't finish, but an offensive rebound. Nolan's been everywhere in the first 11 minutes.
Washington needs to do a better job of attacking the basket. Settling for too many jump shots here early in the game.
On the shot clock, Toro. It's another jump shot. And Huell just stood and had the height advantage over Williams.
Of course, it's easy to say you need to attack the basket, but you look at the Miami guys, their length and strength. It's a hard thing to do.
It's one of the things you notice when you look at Miami next to GW in warm-ups in this ballgame. Newton, the drive and the floater over Toro for Jaquan Newton, his first bucket.
And Newton has always been a guy who has aggressively attacked the basket.
Oh, there's Williams on the drive, and Lonnie Walker the steal.
So you drive it to the basket, and that's what happens to him.
And Newton, the other place, finishes. And a timeout taken by GW. Now, just when you thought that it felt like GW was hanging around, Miami a quick 7-0 run.
Miami a quick 7-0 run based upon their defense and the fact that they get in the lane and attack. This has been an impressive performance so far by the Hurricanes. Moving the ball really well, attacking up and down.
Just leading the game up by 14. And if you were looking for a fun gift or experience for sports fans this holiday season, check out the American Cancer Society Sports and Experiences Auction. Go to ebay.com/ACS Sports to bid on unique items, and 100% of the proceeds go to the American Cancer Society. 9 field goals in the opening half, Dan, for Miami, and they've got assists on 6 of them.
They've moved the ball and they've moved players very effectively. And the key thing to get an assist is you have to have a basket, and they got guys who are shot makers. Vasilovic has been very hot early, and this is unbelievable. That is a deep three. Likes is a guy who can shoot the three, but I'm not sure even Jim Larrañaga figured, despite his Michael Jordan comparisons, that Likes had that kind of range.
Well, you've got all the landmarks in the nation's capital on this floor. I don't know that you practice from that one. At least defending that one.
That was almost from the Theodore Roosevelt grid.
Steves is 0-4. Toro is 0-4. Watanabe hit his first shot. He's missed his last 3. Nolan on the drive, and he'll go to the free throw line.
I think clearly what Maurice Joseph talked about with his guys was we got to do a better job getting in the lane. And this is just Nolan putting his head down and going. We talked about his explosiveness. You certainly saw it on display there, but you also saw on display the difficulty that the Colonials have faced when they get close to the basket.
Now the road to the Final Four continues tonight as the Pac-12 meets the Mountain West. Oregon, Fresno State at 6 Eastern. Followed by number 23 Arizona heading down into the pit to take on New Mexico. It's all right here on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. And all of that following the AutoNation Cure Bowl. Kicks off at 2:30 Eastern right here on CBS Sports Network. Western Kentucky and Georgia State. As bowl season swings into full gear here today on this Saturday. 5 bowls in total in the AutoNation Cure Bowl between the Hilltoppers and the Panthers right here.
Back to man-to-man go the Colonials, and this is where it's got to start for them, is on the defensive end.
Huell, turnaround, and he's got a couple of inches, and a nice touch from 8 feet.
Well, he's 6'11", and he's got really long arms, and he doesn't mess around down inside. When he gets the ball, he makes a move.
4 points and 6 rebounds.
Well, he's not like some great big guy like a Lucas Haas, but he's a guy that's got quickness and really nice moves, and he also can block shots. Like you said, he's 6'11".
Open 3 on the push, and Walker drills it.
This is an impressive performance so far by Miami. They have dominated this game on both ends of the court.
We talked about their ability to drill the 3 at the beginning. About 9 makes a game. They've got 5 already here in the first half. And another turnover for GW. Vasilovic on the push, switches to the left hand.
He knew where the defender was. He dribbled in front of the defender and then protected the ball with his body with that really nifty maneuver, switching hands. So, would you say he's more than just a three-point shooter?
Do I have to answer? Brown knocked it out of bounds. So how do you stop this now for GW?
Well, the first thing you have to do is you got to score some points, and that's been their problem. You've got to make Miami stand still, and you either do that with pressure on the basketball or in the zone, but it doesn't help you if you're not going to put points on the board on this end.
Nolan, the double team. Just 3 on the shot clock again, and that's an offensive foul. Arnaldo Toro just has not looked comfortable on the offensive end, and he averages 10 points a game.
You know, it's almost like he didn't see Anthony Lawrence. He catches the ball, just, I mean, that's, you can't get better position than that. Just been a frustrating performance so far for George Washington. You're not going to get a 19-point play. You got to chip away a little at a time.
Vasiljevic.
When you get a stop, you have to come down and convert. And Miami's been doing a great job getting back on defense. Very few easy opportunities for George Washington.
Good look from Watanabe down to Toro. Second chance, no. And again, it's the push. Newton. And the block. Watanabe got back on defense. He's running the floor with Nolan. For double dribble.
One of the reasons for that double dribble is, again, it's Anthony Lawrence. Here, Lawrence with the pass. Watanabe, we said he's a great defender, and that was a tremendous job in transition to block that ball without fouling. But Anthony Lawrence back on the other end saw Watanabe running by, and he went and picked him up. And I think that's where they wanted to go with the ball, and so that's why Nolan double dribbled, because Lawrence got back defensively and cut off Watanabe.
Well, Miami forces 15 turnovers a game, and GW's got 7. Vasiljevic. He's got 8 here in the first half. He's made a couple of threes, and he is their best three-point shooter.
Bolden has had no room. Watanabe has had no room.
Toro, this time the foul's not called, but Lawrence, who swiped the ball with his back on the ground, was called for the foul. Well, that's a calm look, but the Hurricane has come into GW. Standing by in our New York studio, get you caught up on highlights and analysis of this one from Miami, plus all the other games going on around the nation, including Syracuse and Georgetown right here in the nation's capital on CBS. It's all coming up on AT&T at the half. Well, back on September 26th, 4 NCAA assistant basketball coaches among 10 that were arrested by the FBI and charged with fraud and corruption. Now, none from Miami were arrested, but the Hurricanes have been linked to that investigation by the FBI. Jim Larrañaga came out and confirmed the next day he is listed as coach 3 in the complaint, but he has also asserted his innocence. And you know, you asked him about that yesterday, and he said, I have my comment in October.
Well, in the statement in October, he said that he's tried to live every one of his 68 years with integrity, with character, and tried to set a good example for his kids and his grandkids and the kids who have played for him. And, you know, he hasn't been accused of anything. Linked is different than accused. And there's nobody in this country whose integrity I trust more than Jim Larrañaga. So Miami is looking forward to getting that all behind them. It probably has affected their recruiting a little bit. That whole mess has affected college basketball. And everybody who's connected with college basketball is hoping that that moves to a conclusion relatively quickly.
His name was mentioned a couple of times in some of those taped calls, but that's the link.
Yeah, but nobody said, well, Jim Larrañaga did this or... Right. And like I say, linked is one thing, and when there's an investigation, being linked is a bad thing, but nobody's been accused. Well, Jim Larrañaga hadn't been accused. There's been 8 people who were indicted, and interestingly enough, all 8 people have entered not guilty pleas, so...
Nobody on the Miami staff.
No.
Under 3 minutes to go in the opening half. It has been all Miami here at GW. Another offensive rebound and the putback for Ewell.
Ewell has been a dominant force, and you talked before the game about that team that Miami had back in 13 that won the ACC championship, and they were a little bit different kind of team, mainly because inside they had Reggie Johnson, who was a big bull of a player. And Ewell's not that type of player, but he is every bit as effective in his own way. Trying
to show off all the talent.
Well, That's not the strongest part of his game, but he has played so well in every other facet. Why not?
Watanabe on the drive, and he's hit from behind by Brown. Let's go back, though, to Dewan Huell on the other end.
Well, Dewan Huell, he's at the baseline, and he just comes running in, and nobody blocks him out. Of all the guys on the team, I think if I was going to find somebody to block out, it would be Huell. And again, once he gets the ball inside, he does not wait around with it. He makes a quick move, and that makes it very hard to double team him.
Watanabe, an 84% free throw shooter on the season. And he snaps a long drought. In a slum on the outskirts of Nairobi, Kenya, boxing has become much bigger than a sport. Tuesday night at 10 Eastern, we'll show you how boxing is transforming the lives of young girls and women of Kerry Obongi in Box Girls of Nairobi. It's only on CBS Sports Network. Now, 2 free throws, but GW has not made a basket in 8 minutes.
They've only scored 4 field goals in the entire half. They're shooting under 20% from the field. Even at home, that's not a good formula against the number 6 team in the country. Back to the zone.
You keep bringing this up. This is where they have to get back into the game. Walker drives, no. Great look, Ziegler will finish. Watanabe, his head up the whole way, and he's got the assist.
And that's the kind of play that Ziegler provides. He's very athletic, likes to attack the basket, grad transfer from South Florida. And Watanabe, we've been talking about his assortment of skills on display right here.
Money is like life. You have to decide how to get the most from it. And just like life, every decision affects every other decision. The trick is making good decisions today, so you're ready for tomorrow when it comes. So we made you some simple free tools that let you see how what you do today will affect your tomorrow. So you can make smart choices about how to spend your money and your life. Personal Capital. Get to know your money.
Well, yesterday outside the Australian Embassy, I saw Santa on the Christmas lights riding 8 kangaroo. I don't know I've ever seen Santa on the Sharks.
Well, I don't know what that's all about right there.
Well, it's a stress reliever during exam week.
Okay, there you go. Where would you buy something like that?
It's a 2-piece.
Okay.
It's a combo.
You gotta be kidding.
Out of the timeout, Miami. Up 17, has been in control the entire first half. And Jaquan Newton on the drive. Huell can't tip it in. And it's offensive goaltending. It was around the cylinder. So it wouldn't have counted anyway.
Wouldn't have counted, but there's Huell again. Look at Huell come all the way down from the top of the key. I mean, he'll find that guy and block him out.
I'm not sure that was still hanging around the rim, but it went off anyway. So they didn't have to wave off the basket. So GW's got 4 straight points. Can they get back-to-back field goals? They haven't had that the entire half on back-to-back possessions. Ziegler got trapped and back out to Nolan with a minute to go.
He got trapped and Nolan was standing there watching. When your big guy takes the ball inside, you got to go find an open spot, someplace where you can release a shot when the ball comes back.
Holding the Toro out to Watanabe. Takes the 3. And again, an offensive rebound for Nolan. The guard has got 5 boards here in the first half.
Miami's man-to-man defense has been really good.
Again, it's inside of 10 seconds on the shot clock with the hands in Nolan. He traveled. 8th turnover for the Colonials in the first half.
It's just a terrible feeling if you're somebody like Nolan, the shot clock's running down, you're standing there, you're 25 feet away from the basket, and now you're stuck because the defender, in that case Vasiljevic, is just standing there looking at you.
And now Miami Miami can hold for the final shot of the half. Shot clock is turned off with 11 to go in the opening 20 minutes. Vasiljevic, it's tipped by Bolden, and this would be big for the Colonials if they can get it going to the locker room. Ziegler can't convert, and it's knocked out of bounds. Back to the Hurricanes.
That's where it's gone for GW in the first half.
And that's the way the first half will come to an end. DJ Vasiljevic, 8 points here in the opening half. Couple of made threes. And when this was a 7-point game, he had a couple of back-to-back baskets to blow it open.
Very impressive performance by Miami on both ends of the court.
17-point lead to the break, and that's the end of the first half. After this, we'll send you back to Brett Stover and the gang in New York with AT&T at the half. You're watching college basketball on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Back here in the nation's capital, getting set for the start of the second half. We're undefeated Miami. Double up GW, 32-15 at the break. Jason Horowitz, Stan Bonner, happy to have you back with us here at the Smith Center. Well, we talked about coming into this game, an 11-day layoff for Miami. Brown back into the starting lineup. He didn't score. They looked a little rusty, but not on the defensive end.
Well, no, certainly not on the defensive end. They have made life extremely difficult for George Washington. The Colonials only scored 5 baskets in the first half, only shot 18%, and they've got nothing around the goal. Their 2 starting big guys, Steves and Toro, are a combined 0 for 11, so it's very difficult close to the basket for the Colonials.
On the offensive side for Miami, they've shared the basketball very well.
Boy, they really have, and the key to this whole thing has been their ability to take the ball inside, as Newton does right here, and get it outside, and then make the extra pass. Vasiljevic had 8 points in the first half. Here again, the ball comes out. It goes on the second pass to Vasiljevic, and he scores. And this is a very long, this is shot from the Washington Monument. Literally from the Washington Monument. His lights knocks down the long, long 3-point shot.
We take a look at today's Bud Light game summary. Points in the paint. Huel, a big reason why. He had 8 rebounds for Miami. Second chance points as well, but the turnover issue, the points in the paint. You said heading into this game, one of your keys was GW had to do a better job of second chance points, not giving up the turnover. They've lost all those categories.
Yes, they did. And that 4 points on the inside is an illustration of how effective a guy like Huel has been inside for Miami. When GW has been able to get it in there, all they see is arms and hands, and they simply have been unable to put the ball in the basket.
Well, last week at Penn State, they were 5 of 23 in the first half. They trailed 48-19 at the break. They outscored the Nittany Lions by 12 in the second half. Do that here, they'll get back into this game.
There's no such thing as a 17-point play, so obviously you're going to have to do it a couple at a time.
Toro, nice spin, and for the first time today, he finishes at the basket.
And that's really the first time today that it's looked as if he was aggressive in there, that he wasn't worried about getting his shot blocked. Nice spin move.
He was active in the first half. He had 7 rebounds. He was just 0 of 7 from the floor. The ball movement kick to Vasiljevic. He hit 2 of his first 3 triples. He's missed his last 3.
But again, you get that shot because of great ball movement going inside and coming outside. But I think if you're George Washington, if you can get Miami to just stand and shoot threes, then that's an effective way.
Steves backs his way down and gets 3 feet in front of the basket.
He missed all those shots in the first half. He had a couple of them, but that's a good sign for George Washington that the 2 guys we talked about who were 0 for 11 in the first half are now 2 for 2 here in the second.
Miami's biggest lead was 21. It's down to 13, and they met Huel at the rim, but a foul. Toro whistled for his second.
Well, they've had a tough time scoring inside, but here Toro does a great job with the spin move and protecting the ball with his body. That is a tough, tough shot. I don't think if you're the Colonials, you want to make a living with that shot. Here's a little bit easier because nobody comes to help. Steves just does a great job backing him in, again, using his body and then the left hand. The key there was that nobody came to help. I think Miami's very comfortable with that. Garden one-on-one against the George Washington inside play. This kid has been really impressive. He missed that free throw, but Jewell just moves so smoothly and efficiently out on the court. The other guy's been impressive is Brown. He's done a nice job defensively, and even though he didn't score a basket in the first half, he was everywhere with assists and steals.
And on Watanabe. Big part of the reason he's up, they got 4 points. Holden, no. Steves can't hit the putback. Watanabe, the offensive board. Swatted from Lawrence.
That might be a ball that needs to come back out. Nolan was all alone about 15 feet from the basket. It looks like George Washington, they alternated between the man-to-man and the zone in the first half. Looks like they're going to make a commitment to this zone here early in the second.
Brown the deep 3. Now remember, he missed their last game on the 5th against BU. And originally they said that he would miss this game as well with an injury to his left hand. He begged the coaching staff to play, finally practiced this week, and is back in there. Lawrence gets into the lane, back out to Newton. Great dish to Brown, the up and under.
Brown is a guy who can shoot the 3, but he is really good around the basket because he is so athletic, and he's a great jumper. You didn't really see it there, except for hang time.
Talked about all the things he did in the first half without scoring a point. Had a triple-double in the opener against Gardner-Webb. His 2nd career triple-double, just the 6th player in ACC history to have multiple triple-doubles. Good lead, Nolan to Steves, who's got a couple of buckets in the first 3 minutes and change in the second half.
Maurice Joseph he's like the 6th defender out there.
Brown the trailer.
I think if you're George Washington, that's okay with you. Now, for Miami, that's not a bad shot. Well, I think for George Washington, if you're going to get Miami to make 1 pass and shoot a 3, then you're comfortable with that.
Brown left Nolan open. Steves had good position. It's tapped out to Watanabe, who banks it in.
Boy, he put a lot of arms on that one. Banked it in because he saw Hewell standing there, got it up over him. So now it's down to 12. We got a game again.
This crowd at the Smith Center, not quite a sellout, but a good crowd. They've been waiting for something to get excited about.
And a loud crowd.
Knocked out of bounds. Hewell the last to touch it. And it's back to GW. And we'll go to break.
GW has been able to get some scoring on the inside. Steves knocks it in right there. That's his 2nd basket, and here he taps it out, and that allows Watanabe to score.
A couple of seasons ago that GW won the NIT at Madison Square Garden. Took on Belpo in the championship at MSG in New York City. And 76-60, Tyler Kavanaugh, who was their leading scorer last year, now with the Hawks, paced GW to their NIT championship. Now, they've had a lot of success here. Much of that with Mike Lonergan. Remember, he was fired before last season. Reports of verbal abuse of his players. So Maurice Joseph took over last year. They won their final 5 regular season games in A-10 play and 94 wins in a 4-year span, the most in school history.
This has been a very competitive George Washington program. One of the things they're trying to do this year is they're trying to have life after Tyler Kavanaugh. Nobody expected Tyler Kavanaugh to be a guy who's going to play in the NBA, but certainly that's what he's doing. And that obviously is an indication of how valuable he was to this team last year.
Patrick Steves. Nolan. Athletic play.
That is the 4th offensive rebound of the half for George Washington, and they now have 5 field goals in this half already. They only had 5 in the entire first half.
They have held Miami to 3 points in the last 7 minutes and 45 seconds. And they have cut what was a 21-point deficit down to 10.
Now, Miami has settled a little bit for outside jump shots. They need to start getting the ball back inside.
They got 3 on the shot clock, and it's in the hands of Brown. Newton with 1. He doesn't realize it, and it's a shot clock violation.
The zone right now is accomplishing what Maurice Joseph wanted it to accomplish as part of the game plan, and that is it's making Miami stand around. that's what we said about Miami. They're a team, people say, well, they're a pick and roll team. No, they're a movement team. And when you can get a movement team to stand still, it's much to your advantage defensively.
What's the biggest difference between those two terms? Pick and roll team, movement team.
Well, sometimes with the pick and roll, you put 3 guys on one side, and the other 2 guys are screening and rolling, so a lot of guys are standing around, but Miami's never standing around.
Steves backs his way. He's got 6 in the second half, and it's down to single digits.
And look at the number of scoring opportunities that have come inside for George Washington in the second half. None of that in the first half. And that's what Miami has to do. Remember we said one of their keys was to attack in the lane. Well, that's what they have to start doing now. Even though it's a zone, you can take the ball and penetrate.
Likes and Walker are in off the bench, and that's Walker. Tapped out, and GW to the loose ball. Bolden. And Anthony Lawrence whistled for the foul. How about Patrick Steves here in the second half?
Well, again, he's just muscling Anthony Lawrence down on the inside. He's got a little bit of a bulk advantage against Lawrence. And again, they have elected not to come and help Lawrence. And this is a guy who's in his 6th year playing college basketball. He played at Harvard, was hurt for most of his career. But then when he graduated from Harvard in the Ivy League, you're not allowed to keep playing, so he transferred here.
Miami timeout. We'll take it with him. Network. Carter Blackburn, Aaron Taylor, Jenny Dale getting set to bring you that. Coming your way in about an hour and a half. We'll find out if Miami's still undefeated when this one's done. The drive, Bolden, offensive rebound, and he's fouled on the way up. They will send him to the free throw line.
And that's something we have not seen from Jair Bolden. He is a guy who's extremely aggressive on offense, an excellent driver, and that's really the first time he's been able to get in the lane. We talked about Miami and their poor free throw shooting. Free throw shooting has been a strength for George Washington. You got to shoot it 15 feet, though. 14 isn't going to work.
There you go. Nice compensation. He is a 78% free throw shooter, and it's a 7-point game. Likes from right here in the DC area. He's an explosive scorer. He hit that deep 3, but they haven't really found him the rest of the game. Brown needed to shoot that. He's got it with 4 on the shot clock. He drives. It's tipped. He fights for it. And a jump ball called with possession arrows staying with Miami.
And the Miami coaching staff has made a change. You've got Ibuka Izundu and Huell in the game at the same time. And that's to try to get something going on the inside, but a nice job that time by GW to prevent the offensive rebound.
Steves pulled up. He knows he has 2 fouls. Likes again the deep 3. Huell bats it to himself. And Walker on the loose ball.
That was a very interesting play. The ball went from the baseline almost out to midcourt and was touched by about 6 guys.
They can't end this drought.
Because they're settling for those 3-point shots. The ball has to go inside. Either on the pass or on the dribble, but you got to penetrate. There you go. They've had no answer for Huell on the inside the entire game. And again, Huell's not going to stand there with the ball. You're going to throw it to him. He's going to make a quick move.
Miami's leading scorer at 13 a game has got 9 today to go along with 9 rebounds. Toro. Watanabe tried to save it, but it hit the end line. And it's out of bounds.
It's one of those Toro's feeling pretty good about himself. And not a good idea. And here, this is a nice pass inside by Brown. And the thing that Huell does when he catches the ball inside, he's ready to make a move. He doesn't have to collect himself before he starts making the move. That makes him very difficult to defend.
You know, when Miami built the lead out to 21, it was a lot of up and down. They had some fast breaks. They had transitions. Likes not able to get it going. The putback by Walker.
Good heavens.
That is what they call an athlete Watanabe. Dishes to Toro, driving the lane, fights it in.
That was a tough shot.
Beat the press, Likes drives it, leaves it for Huell, who's now in double figures with 11.
I think Huell was a little bit surprised to find that ball in his chest.
But that was the pace we were just talking about.
You're absolutely right, and your point was a good one. But if they can get up and down a little bit, that helps.
Bolden settles, tough shot, but he hit it.
He's a guy who can get hot, and he can make tough shots. And he can handle the ball and rise up over Likes. Likes is a very good player. They're listed at 5'7". I don't think he's that tall. But Bolden ought to be able to get anything he wants over the top.
Watanabe, the kick ball.
We reset to 20.
They'll do that out of the timeout. Lonnie Walker trying to ignite the Hurricanes. 10:57 to go. And Miami with the advantage here at GW. Season for any judgment on teams. See what we did there, Dan?
Yes, I do it.
Flick you back to your Bass Pro Shops keys to the game.
Well, one of the things that you've seen happen here, one of the reasons George Washington is catching up is because they're doing a great job on the boards, particularly the offensive boards. They have 5 offensive rebounds here in the second half. Miami has sort of abandoned their going into the lane. The pace has slowed down. GW has really struggled from 3. And the second chance opportunities, all 5 of George Washington's have come in this half. So the Colonials have straightened some things out during that halftime break. You know, we saw it was a great pregame speech. Maybe we should have recorded his halftime speech. It was obviously a pretty good one.
It might have had a little bit more anger to it, a little bit more feistiness to it, because his team has certainly come out with more energy here in the second half.
And you're really happy to see that as a coach, but you would prefer them to come out at the beginning of the game like that. This is 2 games in a row, Penn State and now Miami, where his team has performed in that manner.
Walker dumps it into Huell, left it short. And Steves, his last touch by Izundu.
Well, that's what Izundu is in the game for, his ability to rebound the ball offensively. He just couldn't hang on to it there, but that presents some problems for George Washington on the inside with both Izundu and Huell playing in the game at the same time.
Mazzulla and Ziegler off the bench for GW. That's Mazzulla with the ball, the freshman out of Rhode Island. Finds Ziegler.
And that's what Ziegler's going to do. He's going to try to take it to the basket. He's not a jump shooter.
Lonnie Walker, just a couple possessions ago, ignited the offense with the ridiculous putback dunk. And they work it in the half court. Izundu. And Watanabe pulls down the rebound. That's his 5th board of the game.
Again, Miami does a great job getting back in the defense. Haven't been very many easy opportunities for George Washington.
All 6 of Steve's points have come here in the second half. And it rolls off. Huell now has a double-double, his 2nd double-double of the season.
And what you're seeing is much better movement on the offensive end in the second half by George Washington.
Newton penetrates. Trying to find Huell on the alley-oop, who was fouled. And so that'll send DeJuan Huell to the free throw line. Bo Ziegler whistled for his first.
And there's that lane attack that we discussed. You get in the lane, you cause the defense to react, and then you find the open guy. The only thing that saved George Washington that time was the foul. Good foul.
And the foul was before Huell was heading up, so reset the shot clock again. This year it's 20 seconds as opposed to 30 in years past. They got to go quick because there's 4 on the shot clock. Walker gets to the free throw line. No. Izundu is fouled by Ziegler.
Izundu just does a great job getting position inside. He's got 4 or 5 inches on Ziegler, and that's just a really tough task for Ziegler.
Just like that, Ziegler will go to the bench, and Toro checks back in. And what Toro has not done on the offensive end he has made up for with 10 rebounds.
He's been 9 points for a while. That good score.
The Hurricanes' biggest lead was 21. They were up by 17 at the half, trying to get to 9-0. And Nolan fouls Newton on the floor. And that's the second on the freshman. And the fourth on GW.
One of the reasons you play a zone is to cut down on dribble penetration, but that doesn't mean people can't dribble the ball into your zone. You still have to move your feet. And with the shot clock running down, George Washington has to be aware that that's what Miami is going to try to do, is drive the ball past you. You've got to move your feet and stay in front without using your hands.
Lawrence off the heel and Steve's the board. And he didn't see Brown chasing him down.
That's a bad mistake by Steve. You get the ball like that, you stop, and you give it to one of your guards. You don't start dribbling the thing.
Lawrence penetrates and hits.
And that allows Miami to play in a transition-like situation. George Washington not able to set the zone defense.
It feels like a huge swing at
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You just can't turn the ball over.
Nolan drives back out to Jair Bolden. Toro fighting for the board. Izundu had him wrapped up in the foul on Ibuka Izundu. That'll send us to a timeout, but Anthony Lawrence puts Miami back up double figures. Just a gorgeous day here in the nation's capital. GW had a rough first half, trailed 32-15 at the break. But as we get back here in the second half with 7:59 to go, they had it down to 7, but then Miami had today's Serve Pro play of the game.
And the Serve Pro play of the game, I mean, you're talking about somebody who has played very well in his brief time at Miami, but Lonnie Walker just comes out of nowhere here with the left-handed slam. And there have been times where George Washington has been in desperate need of a defensive rebound, and they haven't been able to get it. And as you say, at that point it was a 7-point game. That's as close as George Washington has been.
Now, Miami played LaSalle in Reading, Pennsylvania earlier this season. That is the home of Lonnie Walker. They won that game 57-46. This one feels kind of like that. Bolden drills a three, and they had to have it.
And Bolden is a better three-point shooter than he is a two-point shooter. That is a big, big basket. Now let's see if they can get a stop. You get a stop and another three, and suddenly this is very interesting.
It shouldn't be surprising that most of GW's production has been in the second half, because they only had 15 points in the first half. Newton back out to Walker, lines up the three.
You don't want to get carried away here if you're Bolden. Find the open man. Nice job to pull it out.
Works it down to Steves. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Feeds a cutting Watanabe, who was held up top. The foul is on the freshman Walker. But it's just the 4th team foul on the Hurricanes.
We've talked about Miami and how impressive their movement on offense was in the first half. Well, you're seeing some impressive movement on offense in the second half by George Washington.
Bolden off the heel, but another offensive rebound for Steves. That's the 14th offensive rebound for GW.
That's a shot I think Bolden has to take. He didn't make it, but those are the kind of shots he can make. And if you're Jair Bolden in this particular situation, you have to take that shot.
The Terry Nolan Jr., the freshman and sophomore backcourt mates. That's Nolan on the drive out to Watanabe with 5 on the shot clock. It didn't hit the rim, and here comes the Hurricanes. 3-on-1 fast break. Newton behind the back to Brown. Can't finish. Bolden pulls up for three. Newton back the other way, lays it in.
When Nolan was trying to tip it back, and he tipped it, but Newton was the one who tracked it down. That is a big turnaround in this game because Bolden had a wide open look at it from three. Again, you like his ability from out there. He just didn't get it to go.
They've been working this entire half to get it back to 2 possessions. They have not been able to do that. There's a foul called on Lawrence.
But Newton does a great job getting out in transition. He reacted very well when Nolan tried to tip it out and got the ball away from Bolden and scored. And that is a big basket for Miami.
Hurricanes have held Watanabe to just 6 points in this ballgame.
And a lot of that is Bruce Brown.
Toro off the glass. Bolden can't tip it to himself, and here come the Canes again. Newton settles for the jumper, well off the mark.
Newton is very good getting into the lane with that pull-up jumper. I don't think that's a bad shot. Not going to make them all.
Approaching 5 minutes to go. Hurricanes, one of the 6 remaining undefeateds in college basketball. Toro tracks down another offensive board.
Well, he can really chase it down, can he? A tremendous offensive rebound.
He's got a dozen rebounds in this ballgame. Toro, big jumper.
This is where Miami has struggled in this half against the set zone defense.
And it's already down to 6 on the shot clock. Walker, the athletic move.
You gotta be kidding. You know, he just does eye-opening things. You got a quick glimpse of DJ Vasiljevic on the bench. He's barely played in this half after scoring 8 points in the first half.
Deflected. Toro. And the Hurricanes have 3-on-1. Watanabe's coming back for defense. But he jumped too early.
Well, I think Jim Larrañaga, had that ball not gone in the basket, he may have come out and grabbed Anthony Lawrence by the scruff of the neck. Because that was an easy basket and he made it harder. And he was looking for the spectacular dunk and the timing was so bad they didn't even get that.
No, they got a layup. Watanabe on the other end lays it in.
He just has not had very many opportunities. Well, you still have time if you're George Washington, but you can't trade baskets.
Watanabe last to touch it. Hurricanes have sort of weathered the storm.
They're a team that has a guy like Lonnie Walker who, when you need a basket, can go get you one. He has made a couple of spectacular plays, and here they were hoping for another one. And Walker bails them out by catching it and laying it in.
College basketball on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Wall Shavers. Real guys, real grooming. Visit wallrealguys.com. And by Bud Light, famous among friends.
Number 6, Miami has led wire to wire. It's a 10-point game. Let's go back to our AT&T fast analysis. And Dan, you talked about the totality of Yuta Watanabe.
Well, and one of the things we said is we thought Watanabe had to have a big game today. And his game has been okay, but it has not been as big as he wants. Now, he's number 12, but I think today he feels like his number is 23 because he's been wearing number 12 and number 11 in orange, Bruce Brown Jr., the entire game. I think that's been Watanabe's biggest problem is Brown on the other end has done such a nice job defensively of not just giving Watanabe any room at all. You can see, though, George Washington has shot the ball much better in the second half than the first. Nice pass.
Nice recovery by Watanabe.
As we said, he leads him in scoring, leads him in rebounding, leads him in block shots. That's the second block shot of the game. That was a big one. Now, can they convert?
3 minutes to go. Nolan. Offensive board, Watanabe. And he's fouled by Brown on the way up.
defensive possession by Watanabe. He got the blocked shot and then the offensive rebound. And you just see the look on his face. He was going to take that ball to the basket. He was very determined.
Does not get the roll. Gino Auriemma has led UConn to 11 national championships, record win streaks. Tuesday night at 7 Eastern, he shoots for career win number 1,000. Top-ranked Huskies will meet Oklahoma, Mohegan Sun, right here on CBS Sports Network. That's Summit Coach K, Tara Vanderveer, that listed 1,000 wins Division I history. But 0 for 2 at the free throw line. Walker, alley-oop for Huell.
Huell finds a way to be in a position where he's open under the basket. I have been really impressed with the way he's played.
Bolden drives into the lane, cannot convert. And Huell pulls down his 12th rebound. Alley-oop again. Huell on the rebound, 13, and points, 14 and 15.
So they're throwing that to Brown, and they threw it too high, but Huell was right there. And the only reason Huell's there, Jason, is because he makes the effort to run the court. That was really, really a nice job.
Got a career-high 13 rebounds today. And 2 minutes for Miami, trying to get to 9-0 for the first time in 10 years. Watanabe, contested three. And that might just do it.
Miami has really clamped down defensively. And get that whistle, that piercing whistle. Jim Larinaga may have the best whistle in college basketball. That gets his guys' attention.
You mean fingers in the mouth whistle, yes, right?
Absolutely.
Not actual.
Yes, absolutely. He's probably got a good one of those, too.
Under 120 to go. GW has fought its way back. Bolden banks it in. And a timeout taken by Maurice Josephs. Coach Joseph's team down by a dozen with 1:16, and they got a timeout. Exams, they came up to the nation's capital. They will take a lot of miles over the next 3 weeks, Dan, because they don't play another home game until January 7th when they take on Florida State. Wow. They go out to Hawaii for the Diamond Head Classic. They will take on Hawaii. Then they'll get either Davidson or New Mexico State. They might see USC or Middle Tennessee in the championship if they get there.
That's really a nice plane that they have, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's a little bit smaller than what I would have expected. Over 12,000 miles that they will fly in the next couple of weeks. One home game in a span of 42 days. Bolden, the steal, and Watanabe is fouled by Lonnie Walker.
You got what you wanted. George Washington created the turnover on the pressure. Now Jim Larinaga wants to have a conversation with his guys.
And so he is taking a timeout here. We'll keep it here. So a 12-point lead for Miami. 110. Has not played very well, but they have played well on the defensive end.
Well, yeah, this is one of those situations. You're playing a pretty good team on the road, and you're doing it coming out of exam break. And I've always thought coaches who play good teams, particularly on the road, coming out of exam breaks, there was something wrong with them. But in this particular case, I think this is a very good win for Miami based on where it's played and when it's being played.
Now, this is what you talked about at the beginning. He is a defensive coach, and he has sent the message this year for them to succeed in the ACC. Major focus will be on trying to get this young team to reach the level of defense that can succeed in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And they have played that defense today. 12-point lead with 110. It's a 1-and-1 for Watanabe.
One of the things that they've done very well defensively is they've kept the offensive players in front. They have not given up very much dribble penetration.
Back out to Bolden, a quick three, and he hits!
Boy, talk about being ready to let it go.
It's down to 8, and we're under a minute.
this is where Miami's inability to shoot free throws might become a factor. Of course, they don't get the foul.
Newton the finish. Bolden. They got to go quick. Bolden again from three. Lonnie Walker, the showtime finish.
Well, he is something else, isn't he?
He was a consensus top 25 recruit in the nation out of Reading, Pennsylvania. And we have seen his athletic display all day.
He just flies to the basket here, and then he made a better defensive play down on the other end.
Nolan rattles in the three. And Maurice Joseph takes his second to last timeout with 33.1 to go, and his team down 9. Well, at this point in the game, the only way for GW to get back is to foul quickly. But again, you mentioned this earlier. That's the bugaboo for Miami. They are a 57% free throw shooting team.
And it's not just a matter of fouling quickly. You got to foul quickly, and then Miami has to miss the free throws, and then George Washington has to do what it has struggled to do for a large portion of this game, and that is put the ball in the basket. You know, the defense is great. It keeps you in games, but eventually if you're going to win the game, you've got to put the ball in the goal. And that's where Miami has struggled. And here you get a look, not a lot of time. It's a 3-possession game. And George Washington, one of the problems they have, look here, they only have 4 fouls. So it's going to, you know, they're going to have to foul 3 times very quickly.
And that's got to be the conversation. Now, nobody in foul trouble. It doesn't necessarily matter who you foul, because the best free throw shooter on Miami is Lonnie Walker, and even Lonnie Walker's not at 80%.
Well, it particularly doesn't matter who you foul for the next 2 fouls.
That is the freshman out of Reading, Pennsylvania, the all-around game today. 13 points, 5 boards, and 3 assists to go with a couple of steals.
How about this? DJ Vasiljevic, who's only played 4 minutes in the second half, is now in the game because he's an 83% free throw shooter. You got to foul. You got to foul right now.
More time coming off the clock. Walker out to Brown, and they get the steal.
That's great, but too much time.
Bolden, alley-oop to Ziegler, and he's fouled.
And it's nice to try the alley-oop, but in that particular situation, you need to pull up and shoot a 3. You can't come back in this game 2 at a time. And that's just a great strip. Who was that? Nolan got the ball away, but here the ball has to go. He's got to shoot that.
And that's what Maurice Joseph was just telling him on the sideline. Coach was literally shooting the basketball with his hands.
Well, the 2 points is nice, but you needed 3 in that situation.
Well, you talked about earlier the other problem. 12 seconds came off the clock. They still have to foul 2 more times before sending Miami to the free throw line. Ziegler hit the first. And rolls in the second. 7-point game with 21 seconds to go. And they give the foul with just 8/10 coming off the clock.
And that's good, but now you got to give another one and another one.
Vasiljevic quickly off the bench to come into the game. They'll put DeJuan Hewell back on the bench. Get it inbounds, the trap for Lawrence. And they tie him up. And it's GW basketball.
This is a tough spot because Lawrence is afraid of getting a call for a flagrant foul if he swings those elbows. So that's a very difficult spot.
Quickly into Watanabe, contested shot. No, and Lawrence is fouled. That's the 6th on GW, so they'll have to get another one before sending Miami to the free throw line.
And I'm not sure that Watanabe has been able to shoot anything today except contested shots. Miami's defense against him has been outstanding.
3 of 12 today for Yuta Watanabe. Preseason All-Atlantic 10. He has had a good game on the defensive end of the floor.
And now the next foul. And he's going to go to the line.
In the hands of Vasiljevic. They give the foul. And so DJ Vasiljevic will go to the free throw line. 5 of 6 on the year. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Hurricanes. And again, this is all part of that trip. It's the Diamond Head Classic. They will start with Hawaii. And then that TBD is either Davidson or New Mexico State. And then that championship game, if they get there, might be USC, could be Akron, Middle Tennessee over there as well. And then it's ACC play, which they start 3 of their first 4 on the road.
3 of the first 4 on the road is not an... The schedulers did them no favors. That's not an easy task.
1-1 for Vasiljevic.
I'm telling you, if there's ever a situation where you want a shooter, then Vasiljevic is your guy, no matter whether it's from 3 or from the free throw line.
Upcoming schedule for GW. It's exam weeks. They'll play New Hampshire on Tuesday night, Harvard, and then it's 8-10 play beginning with St. Joe's. And their upcoming 8-10 schedule is not easy either because of their first 3 games. St. Joe's and Rhode Island were both picked to finish in the top 3 of the league, and they're in their first 3 games. Way off the mark on the 3, and that's going to wrap it up.
And that time, Maurice Joseph is telling him, just take 1 dribble closer. I mean, you want the 3. I just told you to shoot the 3, but I didn't want you to shoot it from half court.
So not the prettiest of wins, but Miami's going to get out of the nation's capital with a 0 remaining in the loss column. Jim Larinaga's team gets to 9-0 on the season. They are 9-0 for the first time in 10 years. That team started 12-0. See what this team can do, but for the moment, they are still one of the 6 undefeateds in college basketball. More to come at the Smith Center when we return. 6 ranked Hurricanes win by 9.